Welcome to Tell Us What You Know, a series from Drug Discovery News where we ask experts to unpack some of the most present topics in science and research today. In this episode, we're talking about lab sustainability. Joining us is Scott Wiss from My Green Lab, a nonprofit organization dedicated to driving sustainability in scientific research. Scott is here to help us break down the true meaning of sustainability in the lab, how to spot greenwashing, what new regulations mean for scientists, and most importantly, what steps we can take starting today. Without further ado, let's get into it. Hi, Scott. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Good to see you.
So, first of all, can you tell us what sustainability actually means in a lab setting and why should it matter to researchers and lab managers?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we work in an industry that is really resource intensive. Labs actually use 10 times more energy than a typical office building. We are actually responsible in our industry for 2% of global plastic just coming out of labs, which is a crazy high number given the size of our industry relative to other industries. We also are responsible for approximately 400 million metric tons of CO2 equivalents annually. That's a lot. I think that one of the reasons that we want to think about sustainability in labs and in science is, scientists believe in data, and we've all seen the data that indicates global warming is real and that global warming is accelerating. And what's nice about our industry is we don't actually have to fight about the existence of global warming because, again, scientists understand and believe in data. But, from a different perspective, I think that that comes with a real responsibility. Scientists, if we understand global warming is real, then we have to be the ones to lead on improving this industry while also keeping scientific research active and impactful. We have to demonstrate that our industry can improve through technology and to just, quite frankly, better choices. And then if we can improve this industry, that can be both an inspiration and offer guidance for all these other industries that also need to improve. But because we believe in global warming, because we believe in data, we inherently have a responsibility to take action to improve sustainability.
We hear a lot about greenwashing these days. What is greenwashing, and what are some common examples of greenwashing you've seen in the life sciences
Sure.
industry?
I always like to say that everyone has a good marketing department. Every company you interact with, they literally have people dedicated to trying to tell you why their product is great and why you should buy it. And greenwashing comes from marketing. Greenwashing is when a marketing claim about the sustainability of a product is either untrue or unsupported or even just misleading, giving the impression that a sustainability improvement is large when in fact it just had a tiny impact is also an example of greenwashing. You'll often see a product called eco-conscious or a product called green. You'll see a green leaf icon, but not actually get the details of why that green leaf icon is actually associated with that product. You'll see things like, we plant a tree when you buy this product, but they don't actually give you any information about, well, how big is the impact of planting a tree versus the relative sustainability impact of that product. Those are all potential cases where the greenwashing is really misleading the consumer, and it's really important for us to fix that through actually looking at third-party verification of marketing claims when we're thinking about the sustainability of a product.
So, greenwashing is being addressed by regulations. And how do regulations and new regulations work?
That's great. Great questions. When we think about greenwashing, really we're trying to get at the idea that consumers need to have information so they can make their choices and what they think is most important for them, be it sustainability or anything else. But in this case, when we think about the sustainability data, how much of this is marketing versus how much of this is real. And in fact, we have seen regulations throughout Europe. For example, the European Union has the Empowering Consumers Directive, which is going to apply as of September 2026, in which all eco labels for products are going to have to be evaluated against a standard. In other words, if you have an eco label, there needs to be a common standard that products or corporations or anything else will need to be evaluated against so you can have a fair comparison and a true comparison of sustainability attributes. Also, you are going to need third-party verification of sustainability environmental claims. That's really important because third-party verification can help tell us, is this true or is this just marketing? And I think that really seeing these European Union take the lead on these sustainability regulations is going to be really important for consumers to be able to make clear and informed choices. It is not just the European Union, however. Actually, in Canada, there is the Canadian Competition Bureau that has makes claims be truthful and substantiated under the Competition Act. So in other words, the same idea. We need to have truthful and substantiated, verified claims when talking about what is the sustainability attribute of a product or a corporation or an initiative. Australia, same idea. In Australia, they have the we avoid misleading claims under the Australian Consumer Law, or the ACL. That is another way in which consumers are given fair and actionable, true, validated information behind their products. And the United States is also looking at this as well. The United States has actually made quite a few strides in sustainability. We'll talk here in a minute, I imagine, about the ACT Ecolabel. The ACT Ecolabel is actually approved as a third-party verified standard for lab products. So in other words, a series of regulations and a series of standards that help consumers make better choices.
So speaking of third-party verification, how can labs effectively integrate sustainable practices into their operation using third-party verification or programs, for example, from My Green Lab?
Yeah. So My Green Lab, just to sort of give your audience context for who we are. So we are an independent nonprofit that is focused on improving lab sustainability. Again, as we talked about right at the beginning, if we can't lead in this industry, then we are not walking the walk. We're just talking the talk. And so My Green Lab has really fit into the place of scientists who are passionate about improving sustainability. And we offer programs that, in fact, can help improve sustainability. One program we offer, My Green Lab certification. It is for lab operations. It offers a clear and, quite frankly, kind of fun approach to improving lab sustainability in your operations, a proven pathway. This program works to understand where you are. In other words, what is your baseline? And then we go in and we help you understand through our program, how can you improve? We've actually seen 5 times ROI on just energy savings from engaging with My Green Lab certification, which we think is an incredible benefit. That is just looking at ROI from energy savings in addition to all the other benefits that My Green Lab certification has. I think what's really important about My Green Lab certification is it was created by scientists. Listen, we understand that sustainability just will not be integrated into labs if it actually interferes with operations. We know science needs to happen. We are scientists. My Green Lab certification works with scientists to improve their operations without slowing down scientific throughput, because we know that that is incredibly important. Science is what's going to matter to most scientists. We also need sustainability to be integrated into the operations of labs. We also offer the ACT Ecolabel. The ACT Ecolabel is a third-party verification of lab product sustainability. And we talked a little bit about greenwashing. One of the ways you get away from greenwashing is you have third parties validate any sort of sustainability claim that comes with a product. So the ACT Ecolabel includes an evaluation of product materials, the presence of hazardous chemicals. Are there end-of-life programs offered by the company for the end of life of those products? We also give you available product carbon footprint information as well, so you can start to think about what are called your Scope 3 emissions. We also look at the facility that makes those products. Does that facility align with best practices? Is it using renewable electricity? Is it using renewable energy? And finally, the companies that make these products that go to scientists to actually do science, do they have commitments to reducing their own greenhouse gas emissions? And we actually tell you, we communicate transparently on the ACT label for that product if they have initiatives to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. I think what's really important is that the ACT Eco label is offering information at the product level. Scientists use products. We use pipette tips. We use centrifuge tubes. We use HPLCs. The ACT Eco label is actually going to give you at the individual product level sustainability attributes and the accomplishments in those attributes by these products. One of the great things about that, you can compare products. You can track improvements over time by companies in products. This is also good, quite frankly, for manufacturers. Manufacturers now have a consistent framework that they can all work towards the most impactful things for product sustainability and share that with their customers. And I think that's a really good outcome for both the consumer, the scientists, and the manufacturers, the makers of lab products, because we all can move in the same direction. And when we move in the same direction, that is when things actually improve. So we think that the ACT Eco label, a third-party verified look at products, is a great addition to how to think about purchasing lab products.
That's really encouraging. It's great to know there are organizations like My Green Lab and tools out there guiding researchers and labs step by step, trying to do the right thing. So, finally, what are some practical, simple actions scientists can do right now to be more sustainable?
I think the first and absolute easiest thing you can do is go to our webpage, mygreenlab.org. You'll get a first view of lab sustainability if you're new to the field. We offer many different programs. We offer the My Green Lab Ambassador Program, a free program which will talk about lab sustain or help you talk about lab sustainability, help you understand the acronyms that get used in this field, quite frankly, a little too frequently sometimes, but help you to really get at your first knowledge of how sustainability works in a lab environment. If you find that program interesting, you can become a My Green Lab accredited professional, a deep dive on many technical aspects of lab sustainability. You can use the Ecolabel database that I mentioned. You can go right to our webpage, and right from there, you can see all the products with ACT labels and their scores. You can also just join the Freezer Challenge. So the Freezer Challenge from My Green Lab and I2SL is a free, fun way to improve cold storage best practices. It's kind of a fun little competition with scoring. You can compete against other labs. You can compete against different companies. You can compete against different academic labs as well, and actually make your own cold storage better. But really, I guess, the short answer to this is go to our webpage, go to our programs, and use them to become more educated on how you can improve your own sustainability.
Great. Well, thank you so much again, Scott, for sharing your insights and practical tips.
Great to be here. Thanks for interviewing.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and check out our other videos for more expert insights on science and drug discovery. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.